11 Golden Age stars who hoarded the most bizarre things. The Golden Age of Hollywood dazzled the world with glitz, beauty, and charm. But behind the shimmering lights of the silver screen, many of its brightest stars carried peculiar obsessions, secret collections that told a darker, more intimate story about who they really were. These weren't just trophies or tokens of fame. They were symbols of loneliness, trauma, and the need to hold on to something real in a world that often felt unreal. What follows isn't merely a list of strange habits. It's a window into the hidden hearts of 11 Hollywood legends, each haunted by the weight of their own stardom. That if this kind of story touches your heart, if you're someone who cares about truth, responsibility, and speaking up for the voiceless, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who should hear it. Let's get started. 1. Marilyn Monroe, the woman who collected souls. To the world, Marilyn Monroe was the embodiment of glamour, but in private, she was a collector of forgotten people and memories. She kept hundreds of letters, photos, and personal notes from almost everyone she met, co-stars, directors, even the makeup artists who touched her face before each take. Her home in Brentwood was filled with shoe boxes of unsent letters and diaries. Some were addressed to her mother, others to people she never met, but longed to understand. These writings became her invisible companions, the fragments of souls she feared losing to the emptiness of fame. In truth, Marilyn wasn't collecting things. She was collecting proof that she mattered. Each note, each keepsake whispered, "You existed. You were loved." 2. Cary Grant, the gentleman with a closet full of dreams. Cary Grant, suave and sophisticated on screen, lived a life of control and precision. Yet behind his immaculate suits and polished charm, Grant kept a secret stash, a meticulously organized collection of childhood artifacts. Toys, marbles, notebooks, and even a worn-out pair of school shoes, all hidden in a cedar trunk he carried from house to house. He had risen from poverty in Bristol, England, and never truly let go of that frightened boy who'd once felt forgotten by his mother. Every object in that trunk was a bridge to a life before fame, a sanctuary from the loneliness that came with being everyone's fantasy, but no one's reality. 3. Greta Garbo, the recluse surrounded by relics. Garbo, the mysterious star who famously declared, "I want to be alone," wasn't truly alone. She was surrounded by relics of her past. Her Manhattan apartment, after her death, was found to be filled with thousands of items, from antique postcards to unopened fan letters. She hoarded these fragments not for fame, but for the sense of continuity they gave her. Each unopened envelope was a world she refused to lose. In them lay the last thread connecting her to the adoration she'd rejected. For Garbo, collecting wasn't indulgence, it was preservation. It was her way of freezing time, of keeping the illusion of the world that once loved her. 4. Howard Hughes, the billionaire trapped in his own fortress. No one in Hollywood history collected quite like Howard Hughes. His compulsion was legendary. Hughes' hotel rooms became shrines of control, stacked high, with newspapers, bottled urine, and tissues he refused to discard. His collection wasn't one of beauty, but of fear. Germs, chaos, imperfection, he tried to lock them out by surrounding himself with his own debris. At the heart of his empire stood a man desperate to master what he couldn't: time, decay, mortality. His possessions became a physical manifestation of a mind unraveling. For Hughes, hoarding wasn't madness, it was self-defense. 5. Vivien Leigh, the queen of keepsakes. Vivien Leigh, the ethereal beauty of Gone with the Wind, lived with a heart that never stopped searching for stability. When her marriage to Laurence Olivier began to crumble, she found solace not in people, but in objects. She collected antiques, photographs, and costumes, sometimes entire trunks filled with dresses from her stage performances. Every piece was meticulously labeled, preserved as if it were a relic of her former self. After her death, auctioneers discovered drawers stuffed with love notes and pressed flowers, each marking moments of fleeting affection. Her collection was her way of saying, "I was loved once, and it was real." 6. James Dean, the collector of motion. Before his untimely death, James Dean was fascinated with movement, with machines that could defy death even as they flirted with it. He hoarded motorcycles, car parts, and photography gear, often modifying each piece to perfection. His garage was an altar to speed and rebellion. Yet within that chaos was something deeper, an obsession with control over the uncontrollable. Dean's collection was both prophecy and paradox, a young man building monuments to the very thing that would end his life. His possessions, like his films, became frozen echoes of a life lived too fast to fade, quietly. 7. Betty Davis, the woman who collected herself. Betty Davis didn't hoard trinkets, she collected Betty Davis. From costumes and scripts to makeup cases and newspaper clippings, Davis saved nearly everything connected to her identity. Her home resembled an archive of her own myth, curated with fierce precision. For her, this was not vanity, it was survival. Hollywood had a cruel habit of forgetting its women once they aged, and Davis refused to vanish quietly. Her collection was her rebellion. Every saved prop, every yellowed script shouted, "I was here. I mattered." 8. Errol Flynn, the pirate who collected adventure. Errol Flynn lived fast, loved wildly, and collected like a man chasing immortality. Among his treasures were antique weapons, rare maps, and ship parts from around the world. He filled his yacht, the Zaka, with artifacts from his travels, swords from Spain, tribal carvings from New Guinea, and journals of his own reckless escapades. To Flynn, collecting was an extension of his myth, a way to turn every adventure into tangible proof of his legend. His home was less a residence and more a museum of a life lived beyond restraint. In the end, his collections outlasted his fame, telling a story more vivid than any movie he made. 9. Joan Crawford, the perfectionist's fortress. Joan Crawford's public image was built on perfection, every dress pressed, every photograph posed. Behind closed doors, that perfection turned into obsession. Crawford collected cleaning products, linens, and housewares in excessive quantities. Her closets were symmetrically arranged, color-coded, and labeled. To outsiders, it looked like control. To those close to her, it was fear of chaos, of being unworthy of falling from grace. Each neatly folded towel and sparkling glass was a desperate assertion of order in a world where she had once been powerless. Her collection wasn't of luxury, it was of stability, crafted from a memory of a childhood that had offered her none. 10. Clark Gable, the man who collected silence. The king of Hollywood lived with ghosts. After the tragic death of his beloved wife, Carole Lombard, Gable became a collector of silence. He purchased her belongings, her perfume, and her personal notes, keeping them untouched for years. His home became a shrine to what he'd lost, every object, a whisper of the life he couldn't move past. To the world, Gable was stoic, masculine, indestructible. But his private collection told a different story, that of a man quietly mourning, holding on to love through the tangible reminders she left behind. His greatest collection wasn't gold or fame, it was grief. 11. Judy Garland, the girl who tried to save herself in things. Judy Garland's voice was unmatched, but her heart was forever fragile. Years of studio control and personal heartbreak drove her into emotional extremes, including her habit of collecting random items from hotels, film sets, and even fan mail. She kept scripts, torn costume pieces, and trinkets from places where she had once felt happy, tokens of fleeting moments when she belonged. Garland's collections were small and scattered, but they revealed a truth deeper than any performance. She was trying to hold on to pieces of herself that Hollywood had taken away. Her objects were not trophies, they were survival fragments. When we look at these stars, Monroe, Garbo, Dean Davis, and the rest, their collections reveal more than quirks. They reveal pain, identity, and humanity. The golden age of Hollywood was a machine that built perfection and devoured emotion. Fame gave them everything. Except peace. In response, each star built a personal sanctuary out of things, photographs, antiques, letters, or relics. They didn't hoard because they were greedy, they hoarded because they were human. Today, many of these collections sit in museums or private estates cataloged and auctioned, fragments of broken dreams turned into historical artifacts. But if you look closely beyond the price tags and polished displays, you'll see what these objects really were. Not possessions, but proof. Proof that even under the spotlight, the heart still hungers for connection. Because fame fades, the applause dies, but the things we touch, the memories we keep, they stay.